Good morning. I think that this might be the last meal prep that I do of the year because I am heading back to London to visit my family for Christmas halfway through December. So I was thinking maybe of meal prepping some of my favorite meals as a kind of not farewell, but I feel like in the new year I actually want to try a lot of new recipes. I know I've been saying this a lot and it's really hard when there are so many meals that you just really love on repeat, but I'm ready for some new recipes. So I'm gonna start planning all the meals that I want to kind of prep for today. So we've got to go back to our handy cookbook shelf. Also, in one of my videos, someone did comment, or actually a couple of people commented that I did have 2 of these cookbooks, The Big Vegan Flavor by Nisha Vora, and it's because I bought one because I wanted to support her, but then her publishers also sent me one and I just haven't found the right person to give it to yet. So that's why we have 2 on the shelf. Obviously, we'll be making some recipes from here. Obviously, from the Korean vegan as well. But I actually have her new cookbook, which we might give a little try. Going into the new year, I'm definitely going to be rejigging my diet and the things that I eat. And that's mainly because I had some blood tests recently through Function Health, who are kindly sponsoring this portion of today's video. And I finally got all my blood test results back, as well as my clinician's notes. So on the whole, they looked pretty good. Lots of green, lots of positive stuff. But there were also some things that I have some deficiencies, like my omega-3s are not just low, but like pretty low. So that's something I'm definitely going to need to supplement. I was pretty pleased that my biological age is at 24.9, that was quite nice. That was quite a nice surprise. But my clinician's notes basically recommended different foods that I can introduce into my diet to make sure that I am supplementing or just getting the nutrients that I need from the certain areas where I was deficient. Just reading through my clinician's notes, one thing that is incredibly unsurprising is it definitely showed that I had to increase my hydration. I've been talking about being chronically dehydrated and I know I joke about it, but this was a real serious kick up the arse to actually do something about it and make sure I am drinking enough water. The biggest area of improvement that I need to work on is actually my heart health. My results showed that I have a presence of inflammation and an imbalanced cholesterol transport system. So that is something I'm going to take very, very seriously and address all of the things that were in my clinician's notes. If you're looking to get some blood tests done and you just want to check up on your overall health, then Function are offering a $160 credit for new members for the first 1,000 people that click the link in the description below and use my code. Okay, let's write a list for everything we need for this meal prep and get started. My Project Pantry series is coming to an end because I've done such a good job of working through all of the things in my cupboard that really had not been thought about for quite a long time. So one of the things I wanted to make first was one of my favorite recipes. Again, I've talked about it a million times, but it's the tofu palic paneer by Rainbow Plant Life. It's on her website. It's super easy to find. But I had all the ingredients for this recipe. The only thing I had to get was some spinach. And it just made me think about recipes I wanted to try next year and other cupboard staples I could get in. But being really mindful going into the new year, taking all the things I've learned from Project Pantry and kind of trying to think about a way to experiment with recipes and flavors and try new things, but also just making sure I'm buying not too much of an ingredient or finding a way to buy just a little bit less, so that I don't have another item sitting in my cupboard for 6 months, 8 months, and then realizing that it's something that I have to try and use up. I also made the red lentil curry that Rainbow Plant Life has on her website. Again, this is one of those cupboard staples that I honestly had everything in the cupboards as well. There are a few things that I will always replace, like tinned tomatoes and coconut milk. I'll always have spices, and if I run out of things like cumin, coriander, turmeric, things like that, I'm always going to replace them because they are really perfect spices and staples for making kind of like a cupboard staple curry like this. Being mindful of my groceries and my Project Pantry has kind of made me realize how expensive certain ingredients are and try to look around for ways to replace them with other things that might be more affordable or ones that I can actually get in bulk so I don't have to buy more than I need. One thing I feel like I have not been particularly good with since moving to the US is actually buying in bulk and going to bulk stores, like even just like Sprouts, where I can get a smaller amount of something from their bulk bins rather than buying a big bag of something or a huge packet of something and just paying a little bit more for something or a little bit extra for the things that I don't actually need. I only need a few. And then that's when I probably end up with the things that sit in the cupboard for a while. I do tend to shy away from recipes at the moment, or I have this year, for that would require kind of specialty ingredients that I would not necessarily use in other things. For example, I made these black bean meatballs and I had all the ingredients for this. The only thing I didn't have was harissa paste, but I still had some Calabrian chili paste in my fridge, which I think was fine. And so I decided just to use that instead. I know the flavors aren't similar at all, but I thought it would be a good way to use this up because I hadn't used it since I made the kind of marry me butter beans. And I didn't want them to go moldy or go to waste. So I thought I would just throw them in there, see what happens. And yeah, it just made me think a lot about specialty ingredients. Good evening. I had a bit of a break from meal prep because the day really got away with me. Away from me. I meal prepped my 2 main meals and then the black bean meatballs I really like to have pasta and a tomato sauce. I just couldn't find any fresh herbs at the supermarket today, so I wasn't able to make that sauce. I really wanted to. So I guess today is being a little bit of a kind of, I guess, mini meal prep, but I am about to make 150 dumplings. And it's my favorite recipe. I've made it a bunch of times from the Korean Vegans cookbook. And then for dinner afterwards, I thought since I have meal prepped 3 of my favorite recipes that I make all the time that you've seen me make a million times, that I would make something new for dinner. So after I've made my dumplings, for dinner I'm actually going to make this delicious Vietnamese style noodle salad. It's a Vietnamese rice noodle bowl with crispy tofu and mushrooms. Looks like this, looks pretty good to me. It's in my favorite cookbook at the moment. So I'm gonna make that one afterwards. Today's just been a bit of an annoying day in terms of having to do quite a few chores as well, like cleaning the house and just typical Sunday stuff. But I'm gonna start cracking on this because the longest part of this is actually the wrapping of the dumplings, and I have to go and collect my husband from the airport in a couple of hours, so I've really got to get going. I might watch a film or something because this will definitely take a while, but it's always worth it. And that's why I bothered to make a ridiculous amount, like 150, because they freeze so well. And then you can either steam them or you can fry them, and I just love them so much. Like it's one of those things that I can't believe that I can actually make myself, you know? We had the last farmers market of the year a couple of weeks ago. It's always kind of like the last or the first Sunday of November. And my favorite kimchi stall is there. And so I decided to stock up a little bit on kimchi. And I thought that this would be a perfect recipe to make because this is one of my favorite things. I love to meal prep them and put them in the freezer. But also I'm finding it hard. H Mart doesn't stock this vegan kimchi that I buy anymore for some reason. And I don't particularly like the only vegan kimchi that they have there. So I thought this was a perfect opportunity to use the spicy kimchi that I got from Creams for this recipe. This is also a really nice recipe because it mostly has staple ingredients, you know, really simple things like tofu, carrots, mushrooms, potato, and then other things that I always have in my cupboard like soy sauce. And I always have 2 different types. And I only have this now because of the Korean Vegans recipe book, but I love a light soy sauce, a kind of soup soy sauce, and then a darker one. And one of my favorite things about this recipe is that it's incredibly convenient once you've kind of done all the hard labor and all the work and put it away in the freezer. Then it's just available anytime you want to have some. It makes a really good snack, a really good starter, and honestly, a really good meal. This is a recipe I won't be giving up anytime soon, but it has inspired me to look at more Korean vegan recipes, and making these dumplings always takes me quite a bit longer than I quite realize. I'm just having a little orange. I've been eating these like 3 a day. I just love them so much, especially at Christmas. My husband's flight has been delayed and it's already 8 p.m. So I think I'm gonna make a hot chocolate, and I'm gonna make that recipe tomorrow in my next video. I'm gonna do what I eat in a week. So this was very much a mini meal prep. I did intend to film quite a bit more, but the day just gets away from you. I feel like meal prep actually some of the meal prep takes way longer than you realize, because a lot of these things, like the dumplings, I kind of meal prep them, but I usually do it in an evening when there's like no rush or anything like that, and I can spend just, you know, a good hour and a half just sitting there folding them. But we're now into kind of vlogmas season, so I'm definitely gonna be putting up a lot more videos, and definitely a lot more casual videos, so I hope you enjoyed them. But yeah, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Now that I've kind of prepped some of my favorite meals, I'm going to be moving on to trying a lot more new recipes like I kind of mentioned at the beginning of this video, and I'm excited. It's time for some new things. I'm excited to go home for Christmas, try out all the new vegan restaurants in London, and do a lot of planning for the new year. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Hope that you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time. Bye.